Long before comfort became a goal of human life, survival was the only concern. The earliest humans lived completely at the mercy of nature. Every need, food, shelter, and even the most private bodily needs, was solved using whatever the environment offered. There were no tools made for comfort, no manufactured materials, and certainly no concept of hygiene products. The story of how humans dealt with personal cleanliness is, in reality, a story of adaptation, experimentation, and gradual civilization. In the beginning, early humans lived in forests, caves, and open plains. When nature called, they stepped away from their groups and relied on instinct. The surrounding environment became their only resource. Large leaves were often the first solution. They were soft, flexible, and easy to find. But not every leaf was suitable. Some were rough, some irritated the skin, and others were harmful. Over time, humans learned through experience which plants were safe to use. This knowledge was not written anywhere. It was passed through generations, quietly becoming part of survival wisdom. In wetter regions, people discovered the usefulness of moss. It was soft, absorbent, and widely available near rivers and shaded areas. It became one of the most comfortable natural materials of the early world. In colder regions, snow was sometimes used, though it brought discomfort of its own. In dry areas, people had fewer options and often relied on sand, grass, or even smooth stones. Every environment shaped a different solution, and every solution reflected the struggle between necessity and comfort. As human societies began to form, life changed. Settlements grew into villages, then towns, and eventually civilizations. With this transformation came new ways of living, including shared spaces and early forms of sanitation. Hygiene practices also evolved, shaped by culture, geography, and available resources. In ancient Greece, people used a surprisingly simple method. Small stones or broken pieces of pottery were commonly used after relieving oneself. These pieces, called pessoi, were often smoothed by water or wear. In some cases, historical accounts suggest they were even marked with names, sometimes of disliked individuals, turning a routine act into a form of expression or insult, whether literal or symbolic. This detail shows how even basic human needs became part of social behavior. The Romans, known for their engineering and organized society, developed communal sanitation systems. Public latrines were built with stone benches arranged side by side. Beneath them, running water carried waste away through carefully designed drainage systems. For cleaning, Romans used a sponge attached to a stick, known as a dorsorium. This sponge was kept in a bucket of salt water or vinegar and reused by multiple people. While modern standards may find this unusual, for Romans it was a practical and efficient system designed for shared urban life. In ancient China, the story took a different turn. Paper had already been invented centuries earlier, and its use gradually expanded. Historical records suggest that by the 6th century, paper was sometimes used for personal hygiene, particularly among wealthy individuals and officials. However, paper was still a valuable material, so it was not widely used for such purposes. Most people relied on bamboo sticks, wooden spatulas, or other simple tools. These were practical, inexpensive, and easy to replace. In South Asia and the Middle East, another tradition developed, one centered around water. Instead of wiping with solid materials, people used water to clean themselves. This method was closely linked with cultural and religious ideas of purity and cleanliness. It was not just a practical solution, but a deeply rooted habit that shaped daily life. Even today, many communities continue this practice, showing how powerful cultural traditions can be across centuries. During the medieval period in Europe, hygiene practices changed very little. Straw, hay, and cloth scraps were commonly used. In wealthier homes, pieces of fabric were sometimes washed and reused. In poorer areas, people relied entirely on what nature provided. Castles and towns had simple latrines, often located in towers or over pits, where waste would fall below. Cleanliness was not a priority in the modern sense, and understanding of disease was limited. Paper, though invented long before, remained too expensive for everyday hygiene use. It was reserved for writing religious texts and official documents. However, as printing technology spread in the 15th and 16th centuries, paper became more common. This shift slowly changed its use in everyday life. People began reusing old newspapers, pamphlets, and printed pages. In many homes, these were kept in outhouses or nearby spaces for convenience. This was one of the earliest steps toward modern toilet paper use. By the 18th and 19th centuries, industrialization changed everything. Cities expanded rapidly. Populations grew, and awareness of hygiene began to improve. People started connecting cleanliness with health, even if the science was not fully understood. During this time, the idea of creating a product specifically for personal hygiene began to emerge. In the mid-1800s, commercially produced toilet paper was introduced. Unlike reused paper or rough materials, this product was designed specifically for comfort and cleanliness. It was initially sold in flat sheets and marketed as a hygienic medical product. At first, many people were hesitant to adopt it. Habits shaped over centuries do not change easily, but gradually, its convenience became undeniable. Over time, innovations improved its quality. It became softer, stronger, and easier to use. Rolls replaced flat sheets. Perforations were added, and mass production made it affordable for the general public. What began as a simple idea eventually became a global necessity. Yet even today, the world does not follow a single path. In many regions, water remains a preferred method of cleaning. In rural areas, natural materials are still used when modern products are not available. The diversity of hygiene practices reminds us that progress does not erase tradition. It simply adds new layers to it. Looking back, the journey from leaves to stones, from moss to paper, is not just about sanitation. It is a reflection of human intelligence and adaptation. Every stage tells a story of people solving problems with what they had, slowly improving methods as knowledge grew. It is easy to overlook something as ordinary as toilet paper, but behind it lies thousands of years of human experience. From forests where early humans carefully selected leaves, to ancient cities where stones and sponges were used, to the modern world of manufactured comfort, this history shows how even the smallest parts of life carry deep meaning. In the end, it is not just a story about hygiene. It is a story about humanity itself, about learning, improving, and always searching for a better way to live.